Have you ever stopped to truly consider the silent heroes working tirelessly inside your body? Your kidneys, those two small, unassuming organs nestled just below your rib cage, are the unsung champions of your survival. Every single day, they filter an astonishing 50 gallons of blood. That's right, 50 gallons. Imagine for a moment what would happen if these incredible filters were to suddenly stop functioning, even for just 1 hour. The toxins that your kidneys usually sweep away would flood your system like a toxic tsunami, poisoning every cell in your body. It's not just discomfort we're talking about here. It's a catastrophic meltdown. A mere hour without kidney function could leave your muscles seizing, your heart struggling to beat, and your mind fogged with confusion. And yet, most people go through life completely oblivious to how fragile this balance is. Let me paint you a picture of how dire things can get when even half of this powerhouse duo falters. Picture this: Sarah, a vibrant 32-year-old woman who seemed to have it all, her career on track, a loving family, and dreams stretching far into the future. But one day she woke up feeling unusually fatigued. At first, she brushed it off as stress or lack of sleep. Days turned into weeks, and her energy levels plummeted further. Then came the nausea, the swelling in her legs, and finally the crushing chest pain. By the time she made it to the emergency room, doctors delivered devastating news. One of her kidneys had failed entirely due to undiagnosed damage from years of high blood pressure. Without immediate medical intervention and lifelong dietary restrictions, she was at risk of losing the other kidney too. The reality hit her like a freight train. She wasn't just fighting for her health anymore. She was fighting for her life. Dialysis became her new normal, tethering her to machines 3 times a week while her body struggled to compensate for the loss. Her world shrank overnight, from boardroom meetings to hospital waiting rooms, from morning jogs to counting pills, all because one vital organ decided it couldn't keep up anymore. This isn't some dystopian fiction. This is real life. For millions of people around the globe, kidney failure isn't a distant threat. It's a looming shadow waiting to consume them whole. And here's the kicker: kidney disease doesn't announce itself with fanfare. There's no dramatic warning sign, no flashing red light telling you something's wrong until it's often too late. You might feel fine today, but beneath the surface, your kidneys could already be under siege. High blood pressure, it's slowly wearing down their resilience. Diabetes, another dagger aimed straight at their core. Even something as simple as dehydration can send shockwaves through their delicate filtration systems. But perhaps the most chilling part of this story is knowing that once kidney function dips below a certain threshold, there's no turning back. Once gone, it's gone forever. No amount of regret or wishful thinking can reverse the damage. Chronic kidney disease doesn't care about your plans, your ambitions, or your loved ones. It marches forward relentlessly, leaving devastation in its wake. So why does any of this matter to you? Because your kidneys aren't just filtering blood. They're holding your entire existence together by a thread. They regulate fluids, control blood pressure, manage mineral levels, and produce hormones essential for bone strength and red blood cell production. Lose them and you lose everything. One damaged kidney is enough to throw your body into chaos, forcing the remaining one to work overtime just to keep you alive. And trust me, that lone survivor won't last long under such relentless strain. This is where our journey begins, not with despair, but with hope. Imagine having the power to shield these critical organs from harm before it's too late. What if I told you that protecting your kidneys starts with choices you make every single day? Choices so simple, so accessible, that they don't require radical lifestyle overhauls or expensive treatments. Choices that begin with understanding just how precious and precarious your kidney health truly is. So buckle up, because what comes next will change the way you think about your body forever. As Sarah sat in the sterile, fluorescent-lit hospital room, her mind raced back to the years she had unknowingly been poisoning her own body. The doctor's words echoed in her ears like a grim prophecy. Your kidney damage is severe. One of them has completely shut down. She thought about all the times she'd dismissed healthy eating as an inconvenience, opting instead for processed foods, sugary snacks, and salty takeout meals. It wasn't just laziness, it was ignorance. She had no idea that those seemingly harmless choices were silently waging war on her kidneys year after year. What made it worse was the realization that this slow destruction could have been avoided if she'd only known what her kidneys were up against. Unhealthy eating habits are like ticking time bombs when it comes to kidney health. Foods high in sodium, sugar, and unhealthy fats don't just wreak havoc on your waistline, they also place immense strain on your kidneys. Imagine pouring thick sludge into a delicate filtration system every day. That's essentially what happens when you consume excessive amounts of salt or refined carbohydrates. Over time, the sludge builds up, clogging the filters until they can no longer function properly. For Sarah, this buildup went unnoticed for over a decade. Her love for fast food and sugary sodas didn't seem like a big deal at first. After all, she looked fine on the outside. But inside, her kidneys were screaming for help. Their once efficient filtration systems now overwhelmed by toxins and waste products. And then there were the two silent assassins lurking in her life: high blood pressure and diabetes. These conditions are often referred to as the twin terrors of kidney health, and for good reason. High blood pressure forces your kidneys to work overtime, trying desperately to filter blood through constricted vessels. Diabetes, on the other hand, floods your bloodstream with excess glucose, which damages the tiny blood vessels in your kidneys. Together, these two forces create a perfect storm of destruction. In just a matter of months, they can reduce even the strongest kidneys to shadows of their former selves. For Sarah, her undiagnosed hypertension and borderline diabetes became the final nails in the coffin. Her doctor explained that these conditions likely accelerated her kidney failure, turning what might have been a gradual decline into a rapid collapse. But perhaps the most chilling aspect of Sarah's story was how quickly dehydration could push her already fragile kidneys over the edge. During a particularly busy month at work, she had barely drunk any water, relying instead on coffee and energy drinks to keep her going. What she didn't realize was that her kidneys were slowly drying up, like plants left too long without water. Without adequate hydration, her kidneys couldn't flush out toxins effectively, leading to a dangerous buildup of waste in her bloodstream. By the time she started experiencing symptoms, fatigue, nausea, and excruciating back pain, it was almost too late. Dehydration had triggered acute kidney failure, a condition so severe that it required immediate medical intervention. The irony was not lost on her. Something as simple as drinking more water could have prevented this crisis. The scariest part? Sarah's situation isn't unique. Millions of people around the world are walking around with damaged kidneys and don't even know it. They go about their lives blissfully unaware, that their daily habits are setting the stage for disaster. Every salty snack, every sugary drink, every skipped glass of water brings them one step closer to kidney failure. And unlike other organs, kidneys rarely send out distress signals until the damage is irreversible. By the time symptoms appear, swelling, fatigue, confusion, it's often too late to reverse the harm. Even small lapses in care can have catastrophic consequences. Consider John, a 45-year-old father of two who prided himself on his active lifestyle. He ran marathons, lifted weights, and considered himself the picture of health. But beneath the surface, his kidneys were struggling. His intense workouts, combined with inadequate hydration, caused muscle breakdown that released harmful proteins into his bloodstream. These proteins overwhelmed his kidneys, causing them to fail within weeks. John's story serves as a stark reminder that even seemingly healthy activities can backfire if not balanced with proper care. For Sarah, understanding these risks came too late, but it didn't have to be this way. Knowledge is power, and awareness of the threats facing your kidneys can mean the difference between life and death. Unhealthy eating, high blood pressure, diabetes, and dehydration aren't just abstract dangers, they're real, tangible threats that can strike anyone in any time. The key is recognizing them before it's too late. Simple changes, like cutting back on salt, staying hydrated, and monitoring your blood pressure, can make all the difference. As Sarah lay in her hospital bed, hooked up to machines that were keeping her alive, she vowed to spread the word about kidney health. She realized that her story could serve as a wake-up call for others, urging them to take action before it was too late. "Don't wait until your kidneys fail," she whispered to herself. "Start protecting them today." The power of cranberries, a life-saving defense against infection. It was a Tuesday morning when Sarah received the call that would change her life forever. Her doctor's voice was grave as he explained the severity of her condition. A urinary tract infection, UTI, had spiraled out of control, leading to a life-threatening kidney infection. "If you'd waited just one more day," he said, his tone heavy with warning, "you might not be here right now." Sarah shuddered at the thought. She had dismissed her symptoms, burning during urination, frequent trips to the bathroom, and a dull ache in her lower back as mere inconveniences. Little did she know, the E. coli bacteria invading her urinary tract had already begun its march toward her kidneys, a journey that could take as little as 24 hours if left unchecked. This is where cranberries step into the spotlight. These small, tart berries are far more than a holiday side dish. They are nature's first line of defense against UTIs and kidney infections. Cranberries contain proanthocyanidins, powerful antioxidants that prevent harmful bacteria like E. coli from adhering to the walls of the urinary tract. Instead of multiplying and traveling upward to the kidneys, the bacteria are flushed out through urine. For Sarah, incorporating cranberries into her diet could have been the difference between a minor inconvenience and a near-death experience. The science backs this up. Studies published in reputable journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition and the Journal of Urology confirm that regular consumption of cranberry juice reduces the frequency of UTIs, particularly in women who are prone to recurrent infections. But cranberries don't stop there. They also contain quinic acid, a compound that increases urine acidity and helps dissolve calcium oxalate stones, the most common type of kidney stone. For someone like Sarah, who narrowly avoided disaster, cranberries could serve as both a shield and a remedy. Watermelon, nature's hydration hero. While cranberries protect against infection, watermelon takes center stage as a natural cleanser for the kidneys. Consider John, a 38-year-old father of two, who learned this lesson the hard way. During a routine checkup, doctors discovered a kidney stone the size of a golf ball lodged in his ureter. The stone had caused complete obstruction, leaving him in excruciating pain and in the brink of kidney failure. Emergency surgery saved his life, but the experience left him shaken. I never thought something as simple as staying hydrated could make such a difference, he admitted later. Watermelon, composed of nearly 90% water, is a powerhouse of hydration. It not only flushes out toxins, but also contains citrulline, an amino acid that improves blood circulation. Poor circulation can place immense stress on the kidneys, making it harder for them to filter waste effectively. For John, whose high blood pressure had already put him at risk, watermelon's ability to relax blood vessels and enhance circulation was a game changer. Moreover, its natural diuretic properties help increase urine production, diluting minerals that might otherwise crystallize into stones. But watermelon's benefits extend beyond prevention. Its rich antioxidant profile, particularly lycopene, protects against oxidative stress, a key contributor to chronic kidney disease. Research shows that diets high in lycopene may slow the progression of kidney damage in at-risk individuals. For John, adding watermelon to his daily meals became a non-negotiable part of his recovery plan. Whether enjoyed as fresh slices, blended into a detox smoothie, or tossed into a hydrating salad, watermelon proved to be both delicious and life-saving. Lemons, dissolving time bombs before they explode. For Michael, a 52-year-old accountant, the consequences of ignoring early signs of kidney trouble were devastating. What started as occasional discomfort turned into unbearable pain, culminating in a diagnosis of chronic kidney disease. Now dependent on dialysis for survival, he reflects on how different things might have been if he had embraced the power of lemons sooner. I wish I'd known, he says, his voice tinged with regret. A simple glass of lemon water every morning could have made all the difference. Lemons owe their kidney-boosting reputation to their high concentration of citric acid. This compound plays a dual role in preventing and dissolving kidney stones. First, it binds to calcium in the urine, reducing the likelihood of stone formation. Second, it increases citrate levels, which helps break down small stones before they grow into larger, more dangerous formations. A study in the Journal of Urology found that drinking lemon water regularly significantly reduced the recurrence of kidney stones, offering a natural and accessible solution for those at risk. Beyond stone prevention, lemons are packed with antioxidants like vitamin C and flavonoids, which combat inflammation and support overall kidney health. Vitamin C in particular strengthens the immune system and shields kidney cells from oxidative damage. Staying hydrated is another cornerstone of kidney health, and lemons make water more palatable. Many people struggle to drink enough water throughout the day, leading to dehydration and sluggish kidney function. Adding a splash of fresh lemon juice not only enhances flavor, but also encourages increased fluid intake, keeping the kidneys well hydrated and functioning efficiently. A trio of protection, combining forces for optimal kidney health. When cranberries, watermelon, and lemons are combined, they form a formidable trio capable of safeguarding kidney health. Each fruit brings unique strengths to the table. Cranberries fight infections and prevent stone formation. Watermelon ensures proper hydration and detoxification, and lemons dissolve existing stones while supporting overall kidney function. Together, they create a synergistic effect that amplifies their individual benefits. For Sarah, John, and Michael, these fruits represent second chances and lessons learned the hard way. Their stories underscore the importance of proactive care and highlight the transformative power of simple dietary changes. By incorporating these fruits into daily meals, whether through a morning glass of lemon water, a refreshing watermelon salad, or a handful of dried cranberries sprinkled over oatmeal, anyone can take meaningful steps toward protecting their kidneys. In conclusion, the journey to long-term kidney health begins with awareness and action. Cranberries, watermelon, and lemons aren't just foods, they're lifelines. They remind us that even the smallest choices, like swapping sugary sodas for a glass of cranberry juice or opting for watermelon slices instead of salty snacks, can have profound implications for our well-being. As Sarah often tells others, don't wait until it's too late. Start today, because your kidneys deserve nothing less. The devastating consequences of neglect, a story of salt, dehydration, and overmedication. For Sarah, the realization that her lifelong love affair with salty snacks had led to irreversible kidney failure came too late. By the time she was diagnosed with end-stage renal disease, ESRD, her kidneys were operating at less than 10% of their normal function. Her doctor's words echoed in her mind like a death sentence. Your sodium intake has been slowly poisoning your kidneys for decades. As she sat in the sterile hospital room, hooked up to dialysis machines 3 times a week, she couldn't help but replay every salty chip, every processed meal, every fast food burger she'd consume without a second thought. What seemed harmless at the time had quietly corroded her kidneys over the years, leaving them shriveled and useless. Salt, often dismissed as a mere seasoning, is one of the most insidious threats to kidney health. Excessive sodium forces the kidneys to work overtime, trying to flush out the surplus through urine. When this process becomes constant, it places immense strain on the delicate filtration system of the kidneys. For Sarah, her high-sodium diet not only raised her blood pressure, a leading cause of kidney damage, but also caused fluid retention, which further burdened her already struggling organs. The scariest part? She hadn't even noticed the gradual decline. Her body adapted to the rising sodium levels until it couldn't anymore. By then, the damage was catastrophic. But salt wasn't the only culprit in Sarah's story. Dehydration played an equally sinister role. During a particularly stressful period in her life, she had neglected to drink enough water, relying instead on coffee and energy drinks to keep her going. What she didn't realize was that her kidneys were slowly drying up, like plants deprived of water. Without adequate hydration, her kidneys couldn't effectively filter toxins from her bloodstream, leading to a dangerous buildup of waste. Within weeks, her once healthy kidneys began to shrink, their tissues becoming brittle and inefficient. It was a stark reminder that even short-term neglect could have devastating consequences. And then there was the final blow: over-the-counter painkillers. For years, Sarah had relied on ibuprofen to manage her chronic headaches and back pain. What she didn't know was that these seemingly harmless pills were silently eating away at her kidneys. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs, like ibuprofen and naproxen, can cause acute kidney injury if used excessively or over long periods. In Sarah's case, her prolonged reliance on these medications accelerated her kidney failure, pushing her into ESRD far earlier than it might have occurred otherwise. Her doctor explained that just a few days of heavy NSAID use could trigger kidney necrosis, a terrifying prospect that left her wishing she had explored alternative pain management strategies sooner. The irony of Sarah's situation was almost unbearable. All of these habits, eating salty foods, failing to stay hydrated, and overusing painkillers, were so commonplace that they seemed harmless. Yet, combined, they formed a perfect storm of destruction that left her dependent on machines to survive. Her story serves as a grim warning to others. The choices you make today can determine whether your kidneys thrive or fail tomorrow. Consider John, whose experience with dehydration mirrored Sarah's in many ways. A busy father of two, he prided himself on his active lifestyle, running marathons and lifting weights regularly. But his intense workouts, coupled with inadequate hydration, proved disastrous. During one particularly grueling training session, he collapsed from severe dehydration. Rushed to the hospital, doctors discovered that his kidneys were on the verge of shutting down. The lack of water had caused his muscles to break down, releasing harmful proteins into his bloodstream that overwhelmed his already strained kidneys. It was a wake-up call for John, who realized that even healthy activities could backfire without proper care. Similarly, Michael's story highlights the dangers of medication misuse. A 52-year-old accountant, Michael had always struggled with joint pain and frequently turned to over-the-counter pain relievers for relief. When he began experiencing nausea, fatigue, and swelling in his legs, he initially dismissed them as signs of aging. By the time he sought medical attention, his kidneys were severely damaged. His doctor informed him that the NSAIDs he had been taking daily had caused irreversible harm, leaving him with no choice but to begin dialysis. Michael's regret was palpable. "I thought I was doing something good for my body," he confessed. "Instead, I destroyed it." These stories underscore the importance of adopting healthy lifestyle habits to protect your kidneys. Simple changes like reducing salt intake, staying hydrated, and using medications responsibly can make all the difference. For example, replacing salty snacks with fresh fruits like cranberries, watermelon, or lemons not only satisfies cravings, but also supports kidney health. Drinking plenty of water throughout the day ensures your kidneys remain well hydrated and able to function efficiently. And when it comes to pain management, exploring natural remedies or consulting a healthcare professional can prevent unnecessary harm. In conclusion, the road to long-term kidney health begins with awareness and action. Salt, dehydration, and medication misuse are silent killers lurking in the shadows of everyday life. But armed with knowledge and determination, anyone can take control of their kidney health. As Sarah often tells others, don't wait until it's too late. Start protecting your kidneys today because they deserve nothing less. The grim reality of kidney failure, a race against time. For millions of people around the world, the first sign of kidney trouble comes too late, a devastating diagnosis of end-stage renal disease, ESRD, leaving them tethered to dialysis machines for the rest of their lives. This was nearly Sarah's fate. Her journey began with subtle symptoms that she dismissed as mere inconveniences: fatigue, swelling in her legs, and an unshakable sense of nausea. By the time she sought medical attention, her kidneys were operating at less than 15% of their normal function. "You're lucky we caught this when we did," her doctor said, his voice heavy with both relief and warning. "A few more months and you might have been beyond saving." Those words haunted Sarah. not just because of how close she had come to disaster, but because she realized how preventable it all was. The stark truth is that kidney disease often lurks in the shadows, showing no obvious signs until irreversible damage has already occurred. For Sarah, years of poor eating habits, dehydration, and unchecked high blood pressure had silently corroded her kidneys. She wasn't alone. Millions of others share her story, unaware of the ticking time bomb within their own bodies. What makes this reality even more harrowing is that many people only discover their condition when they're already facing a life-altering crisis. Dialysis, transplants, or even death become the grim realities they must confront. But Sarah's story didn't end there. It became a turning point, a testament to the power of timely intervention and lifestyle change. After her diagnosis, she committed herself to a radical transformation. She swapped salty snacks for hydrating fruits like watermelon, incorporated cranberries into her daily routine, and started each morning with a glass of warm lemon water. She cut back on processed foods, monitored her sodium intake religiously, and made hydration a non-negotiable priority. Within months, her kidney function stabilized, and though she would always need to remain vigilant, she had pulled herself back from the brink of catastrophe. Her experience serves as a chilling reminder of what's at stake. Every moment of hesitation, every ignored symptom, every unhealthy choice brings your kidneys closer to the edge of irreparable decline. Consider John, whose story mirrors Sarah's in its urgency, but differs in its outcome. A father of two, John had always prided himself on his active lifestyle, but beneath the surface, his kidneys were struggling. During a particularly grueling marathon training session, he collapsed from severe dehydration. Rushed to the hospital, doctors discovered that his kidneys were on the verge of shutting down. Though he survived, the damage was permanent. Now dependent on dialysis 3 times a week, John reflects on the choices that led him here. "I thought I was doing everything right," he says, his voice tinged with regret. "But I didn't realize how fragile my kidneys really were." Michael's story offers yet another perspective, one of missed opportunities and harsh consequences. For years, he had relied on over-the-counter painkillers to manage chronic joint pain. When he began experiencing fatigue, swelling, and nausea, he brushed it off as a natural part of aging. By the time he sought medical help, his kidneys were severely damaged. His doctor delivered the devastating news: "Your prolonged use of NSAIDs has caused irreversible harm. You'll need to start dialysis immediately." Michael's world shattered in an instant. He now spends hours each week hooked up to machines, a grim reminder of the toll his negligence took on his body. "If only I'd acted sooner," he laments, his eyes filled with sorrow. "If only I'd known." These stories underscore a sobering truth. The clock is always ticking when it comes to kidney health. Waiting for symptoms to appear is a gamble most people can't afford to take. By the time fatigue, swelling, or confusion set in, the damage is often irreversible. Chronic kidney disease doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It creeps in quietly, stealing away your health before you even realize it's gone. And once it strikes, the consequences are dire. Dialysis becomes a lifelong sentence, robbing individuals of their freedom, energy, and quality of life. Transplants, while offering hope, are fraught with challenges, including long waiting lists and the risk of rejection. For many, the only option left is acceptance of a grim new reality. Yet amidst this bleak landscape, there is hope. Sarah's story proves that change, even when it comes late, can still make a difference. Her commitment to adopting healthier habits not only saved her life, but also inspired those around her to take action. She began sharing her journey on social media, posting photos of her cranberry smoothies, watermelon salads, and lemon-infused water. Her posts quickly gained traction, resonating with thousands of people who saw themselves in her struggles. "You don't have to wait until it's too late," she wrote in one viral post. "Start today." Each your kidneys are autumn. Her message struck a chord with Emma, a 42-year-old teacher who had recently been diagnosed with early-stage kidney disease. Inspired by Sarah's story, Emma decided to take control of her health. She replaced her morning coffee with a refreshing glass of cranberry juice, swapped salty chips for slices of watermelon, and began practicing yoga to reduce stress. She also started attending weekly support group meetings where she met others navigating similar challenges. Together, they shared recipes, tips, and encouragement, forming a community united by a common goal: to protect their kidneys and reclaim their lives. Emma's transformation wasn't easy. It required discipline, sacrifice, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. But the results spoke for themselves. Within 6 months, her kidney function improved significantly, and her doctor praised her progress. "You've turned things around," he said during a follow-up appointment. "Keep going." Those words filled Emma with a renewed sense of purpose. She realized that every small step mattered. Every healthy choice brought her closer to a brighter future. In conclusion, the lesson is clear. Your kidneys are resilient, but they're not invincible. Every second counts when it comes to protecting them. As Sarah often reminds her followers, every moment of hesitation brings your kidneys closer to the edge of irreparable decline. Don't wait for symptoms to appear. Start making changes today, because tomorrow might be too late. Whether it's swapping out salty snacks for hydrating fruits, drinking more water, or simply listening to your body's warning signs, the actions you take now will shape your health for years to come. Remember, your kidneys are the silent heroes keeping you alive. Treat them with the care and respect they deserve, and they'll reward you with a lifetime of vitality.